Hello, everyone, and welcome to the EASE Peer Review Week event. We are having a lot of participants joining. You can start by introducing yourselves in the chat and tell us where are you joining from. I will be the moderator of today's event together with Bogdana Zahrebelna. My name is Iva Grabarić Andonovski. I'm EASE Vice President and Croatian Chapter Chair, and Bogdana is not only organizer but also very active in EASE Ukraine chapter. So she will be moderating the online part and the Q&A session. This event is actually organized by several EASE regional chapters. I've already mentioned EASE Ukraine who initiated this event. Then we have Professor Mirko Spiroski from Macedonian chapter, chair of the EASE Macedonia. We have my colleague and vice chair of Croatian chapter, Ivana Morić Filipović, who will be also speaking at the event. I apologize, I'm not introducing people in the order they will present, but we will announce each one at the beginning of the presentation. Then we have Jadranka Stojanovski, my former vice chair of EASE Croatia and a member of peer review committee of EASE. Also joining us, Irina Izarova. She is not only leading the EASE Ukraine chapter, but also is a president or chair of regional chapter committee. We have Yasin Hasan Balcıoğlu, who is chapter chair from Turkey, and Roohi Ghosh from EASE India. She is vice chair of Indian chapter. So as you can see from the not only diversity of regions, but also parts of the world, we will have an interesting session in which we would like to introduce peer review tools that our peer review committee has developed and share some practices from various chapters. So I would like to start, if Bogdana, you can please share your presentation so we can start with the event. And you can scroll, Bogdana, to the next slides. So as you know, we are not only depending on peer review tools and skills of our peer reviewers, but also we are facing the challenges related to research integrity and the use of AI. So you will hear more about it from our today's speakers, also their experiences and some attitudes, for example, of Croatian chapter members, and experiences from India, Turkey, Macedonia, and Ukraine regarding not only the use of peer review process and tools, but also the use of AI, research integrity issues, and some efforts in translating these tools. Next slide, please, Bogdana. So I have already introduced our today's speakers. So please, next slide. And as I told you before, we will be starting with Professor Jadranka Stojanovski from EASE Croatia, who will be presenting the peer review toolkit. And Bogdana, please, you can start with the scroll down to the beginning of Jadranka's presentation. You will hear more from Jadranka. How our peer review committee has developed these tools and what they consist of and how you can use them. Before Jadranka, I give you the floor. Please share your questions in Q&A session. We will address all the questions at the end of this session or after all the presentations. And if you have some comments, please comment in the chat box, and I will put some questions for you as well. So we will try to collect your answers and then address them later. And I would like to ask each speaker to comment on the results of our question, or to comment your answers later. So Jadranka, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Iva. Thank you, Bogdana, for running the slides. So good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to join you during peer review week, especially under this year's theme, peer review across borders and technologies. As editors, reviewers, and researchers, we all know that peer review is no longer confined to one language, one country, or even one platform. Peer review now spans multiple systems and technologies instead of being locked into a single platform owned by a single journal or publisher. So manuscripts travel instantly across continents, and emerging technologies from online platforms to AI tools are reshaping how we evaluate scholarship. In this rapidly changing landscape, maintaining rigorous, fair, and transparent peer review becomes both more challenging and more important. That's where the EASE Peer Review Toolkit comes in. Developed by EASE Peer Review Committee, it is practical, evidence-based resource to support authors, editors, and reviewers in improving their processes, no matter their size, language, or region. Next slide, please. Peer review is still the primary way to revalidate research before or after publication. It improves manuscript through constructive feedback and serves as a gatekeeper for scholarly communication. Its purpose is to assess the research rigor, originality, novelty, and significance of the work, including ethical and integrity aspects. In the same time, we face real challenges for peer review process: inconsistency between reviewers, various forms of bias, lack of transparency in traditional models, and above all, reviewers' fatigue. These pressures make guidance and support even more critical. It is also important to mention that peer review can be evaluated for quality too. So we are dealing with more than one dimension of peer review. Without robust peer review, the trustworthiness of science would be undermined. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, peer review peer review toolkit was created by peer review committee. Peer review committee is one of the 4 committees, EASE committees, dealing with very important topics in scholarly communication nowadays. Next slide. So the mission, the main mission for peer review committee was to provide tools, resources, training, and support to the scholarly community on all aspects of scholarly peer review. So you can see that beside the peer review toolkit itself, we are offering all informations, meetings, events, and other materials are relevant for peer review. Next slide, please. Toolkit defines what quality looks like, and on the first place we put the proper recognition of reviewers and also improve peer review workflow. So we are continuously asking ourselves what guidelines should we provide to reviewers and what is actually good practice of peer review. Continuously, we are devoted to create a good reviewing culture. And regarding peer review committee focus, I must say that we are continuously re-evaluating our focus and trying to improve our work and our activities. Next slide, please. The toolkit, peer review toolkit itself is modular. It also includes general guidelines on publishing studies, on peer review, and recommendations on AI in scholarly usage in scholarly communication. For authors, it is relevant to know how to respond to reviewers' comment. Next slide, please. For reviewers, it offers guidance on writing review reports and do's and don'ts on being a good peer reviewer. Next slide, please. For editors, it covers selecting and rewarding reviewers, assessing peer review quality, and dealing with paper mills. Beside all these guidelines, we prepared also very popular infographics, and it's really nice to see how they are really heavily used and translated in different languages. So peer review crosses languages, cultures, and editorial traditions. So we made a peer review toolkit which can be adapted to local needs, whether you run a small open access journal or even diamond open access journal in regional language or a large international title. It also supports DEI principles, helping editors build more diverse reviewer pools and fairer practices. Next slide, please. Yes, this is example of peer review infographics for peer reviewers. Next slide, please. Beside peer review toolkit, if you look at really rich EASE resources offered on EASE website, you will find access to the numerous resources speaking or presenting or exploring peer review process. So not only extensive resource library, but also EASE has its own YouTube channel where you can access recording of past events and trainings. Next slide. So you can see that this is just a screenshot of events having peer review as the main topic. And next slide, please. My last slide is about emerging practices happening in peer review area, which will certainly define and reshape priorities of the peer review committee in the next period. Artificial intelligence now touches every part of editorial process, from manuscript triage to plagiarism checks and even reviewer selection. The toolkit provides recommendation on how to integrate AI tools by maintaining integrity and human judgment. Used well, AI can reduce workload and speed up publication. Used carelessly, it can amplify bias of errors. EASE Peer Review Toolkit is a living, adaptable resource By combining its good practice guidelines with new technologies, we can make peer review more transparent, inclusive, and efficient across borders. Furthermore, ongoing evaluation and collaborative peer review open to the community will strengthen trust in scholarly communication. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jadranka. I'm not sure whether Bogdana had some technical difficulties during sharing your slides. If that is the case, apologies for that. Perhaps we can reshare the screen to start with the next presentation. But I want to first thank you for providing an overview for the peer review, not only tools, but all of the resources that EASE has. And I would encourage the participants to try to use them in their journals and also as reviewers or as an author. So you will see that in these infographics you have some of the resources which are suited for editors and some of them which are intended for peer reviews. So there is a lot of resources for each role in the editorial process. So if you can, Bogdana, please move to the next starting of the next presentation. Yeah, great. Thank you. So I think we had this in order. As you can see, Bogdana is sharing some questions in the chat for you participants to provide some some of your thoughts or replies and share your thoughts with us so we can comment on that later. Next, I would like to ask Ivana Morić to share the results of the short survey that we have conducted recently among Croatian journal editors and reviewers about the practices of how are they using, and if they are using the peer review tools, and if they are using AI tools for any editorial tasks. So please, Ivana, you can start your presentation.
Thank you, Iva, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me well. As Iva already mentioned, we conducted a short survey among Croatian journal editors, and I will briefly present to you the results of that survey. So please, can you go to the next slide? So the survey was distributed to the mailing lists of the Croatian Portal of Scientific Journals, which is also known as Hrčak, and the Croatian Association for Scholarly Communication, or CROASC. We got back 44 answers. The response rate of the survey was around 9%, and it gave us a useful insight about the peer review experiences and the needs of editors and reviewers in Croatia. Next slide, please. So the first question was what is their role in the article evaluation process? And since they could pick more than one answer, respondents mostly identified themselves as reviewers, but also they are different kind of members of editorial boards. This gives us a different kind of perspectives when looking at the results of this survey. Next slide, please. So next, we asked whether the journals that participants are most involved with have guidelines for reviewers. And these questions gave us insight into how structured and standardized the review process currently is across Croatian journals. And it shows that majority of the journals have guidelines for reviewers. Next slide, please. Then we wanted to know whether these reviewer guidelines include any instructions related to the use of artificial intelligence tools. And this question is important because AI tools are increasingly used in academic publishing, and clear policies are becoming essential. So most participants answered that their journal doesn't have such guidelines, while some of them don't know the answer. Next slide, please. We also asked the respondents if they are the members of EASE, and the answers show that only about 23% of respondents are members, while about 77% are not. Next slide. We also asked whether the participants are familiar with the EASE Peer Review Toolkit, which is a resource designed to support and improve the peer review process. And the responses to this question were the same as in the previous one, which can be interpreted that those who reported being an EASE member are also familiar with the peer review toolkit. Next slide, please. So we also wanted to know if respondents actually use the peer review toolkit in their work as editors or reviewers, and only 13% of participants answered yes, while the majority does not use this toolkit. Next slide, please. Then we asked if participants are familiar with these guidelines for the use of artificial intelligence tools in scientific publishing. And 22 of respondents answered yes to these questions, while 77.3 answered no. Next slide, please. When we asked whether editors or reviewers are personally using any AI tools in their work, almost 32% of participants answered yes. Next slide, please. For those who answered yes, we asked to describe the purposes. As you can see on this graph, most of the respondents said that they use it for linguistic refinement of a text, then for text verification, for drafting a decision or review text, or to verify references. Next slide, please. We also wanted to know if participants follow any other guidelines apart from those issued by EASE. And as you can see, 45% of them answered yes, and 55% answered no. Next slide, please. For those who indicated that they follow other guidelines, we asked them to specify which ones, and these were their answers. Majority uses COPE guidelines and journal policy guidelines, guidelines of the Ministry of Science, Education and Youth in Croatia, among others that are listed on this slide. Next slide, please. So to conclude, the survey results show that many Croatian editors and reviewers are still not familiar with EASE tools. And this highlights the need for further promotion and training on the resources that are available. Moving forward, we plan to extend the survey to EASE members more broadly in order to gain a more comprehensive and comparative insight. Thank you very much. You can move to the next slide, and there is our contact of EASE Croatia, so if you want, you can contact us. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Ivana, very much for this for sharing these very interesting results. Actually, we are talking a lot about these resources and tools, and we always think that we reached the wider community, but it seems that we still need to work a lot on that. And I want to point out that we also have EASE Croatia, not only EASE Croatia, but also EASE Ukraine, EASE Turkey, EASE India, and EASE Macedonia sites on the LinkedIn, so you can follow us and contact us via these sites as well. So we will move with the next presentation. I see some questions in Q&A and in the chat, but I also see that that Irina and Ivana have answered these questions. So please, if you have some other questions, share it with us. And I would like to ask Bogdana to move the slide to the next presentation, and also to post the next question for you as participants in the chat. So we will continue with Roohi Ghosh, who is vice chair, as I introduced her at the beginning, of EASE India. And she will be talking about the use of AI tools and how it's been perceived by the Indian researchers and editors. So Roohi, please let us walk with us through your presentation.
Good. Thank you, Iva, for the introduction. And happy Peer Review Week, everyone. This is the first day of Peer Review Week, and I am so excited with all the discussions that I'm sure are going to be very, very exciting. So looking forward to hearing what the fellow panelists have to say, as well as to all the other presentations and panels that we will attend during Peer Review Week. I'm just going to quickly, if you can move to the next slide, please. Let me begin with so while the focus today is India's landscape, it goes a little beyond, because I think that somewhere the challenges or the issues that are there are probably global. So I'll just talk a little about this. In India, it ranks, almost the top 5 globally for research output. And, globally, we are always saying that, rising submissions are causing reviewer fatigue, and this is fueled by lack of recognition. It's fueled by repetitive workloads. But as we look at data, right, we will see that despite producing a quarter of published research in Asia, Asian researchers account for less than 10% of peer reviewers. Similarly, I was reading, and recent surveys show that while they accept assignments quicker, but they remain less frequently invited. And in fact, only 7% of Indian reviewers report overload versus 23% globally, which again points to the same thing, which is untapped potential and low reviewer engagement. So if you could move to the next slide, please. So that, made me think about what are the 3 actionable areas that can really transform peer review dynamics in India. And, one thing that, and, I think this applies even globally, that recognition is one, training and mentorship is the second, and tapping into the untapped reviewer pools is third. I think, if we take care of these 3 major chunks, we are, will be in a position to transform the peer review landscape in India and beyond. So how do we, value the peer reviewer contributions in, academic career assessments for formal credit and recognition? How do we provide training opportunities or simulation exercises for peer review? How do we, so this was very interesting that peer review tends to favor reviewers who are from the same country as the author. And this I was very surprised by when I read it, because I realized that this can skew objectivity and limit the global perspective so much, right? Because the reason the peer review is such a valuable step is because it should allow you those global perspectives. So, so I think we're able to fix this, and I think harnessing AI effectively will allow us to do all of this. If you could move to the next slide. Thank you. So, so there's also the integrity gap. India lacks a statutory body for research integrity. There are misconduct cases like plagiarism. There's the academic reward structure is skewed. So this adds further a little more complexity. And like I mentioned, we can harness AI to solve for some of these. Could you please move to the next slide? Thank you. So AI can basically be harnessed to broaden participation. So that's AI-powered reviewer matching can tap into India's large but underutilized reviewer pool. It can be used to support training, whether it is simulated reviews, AI feedback, tools that mentor early career reviewers at scale, and reduce fatigue. So automate routine checks so that the reviewers can focus on what peer review is actually meant for, which is, the science. and strengthen quality so it can assist with consistency, bias detection, while humans provide critical judgment. So yes, there are risks that are involved where, we can say that, the tool or the tool itself is using biased data. So there are risks, but there are also at the same time a lot of benefits in the process. Could you please move to the next slide? So as we spoke about these 3 or 4 areas that AI can be harnessed, I started to think about some practical applications for the use of AI. And there is integrity screening. So AI tools can assist in, and here I'll just give you a disclaimer. I'm also the research ambassador for Cactus Communications, and PaperPal is a Cactus brand. So while I am talking about it, I'm sure there are other tools as well, but what I am most aware about are PaperPal. So, a tool like PaperPal would allow you to, it would assist in early checks for plagiarism, for duplication, for reference validation. It can, help with AI disclosures to comply with journal guidelines, or help in disclosing responsible AI usage. Then there's, of course, consistency and standards compliance, where there are AI tools that are available which are trained to detect adherence to key reporting guidelines and flag missing elements. So there are pilot initiatives by BMJ and Elsevier for this. There's inclusivity and reviewer matching. So you have the Elsevier's reviewer recommender, Clarivate's AI-driven reviewer locator, which leverage NLP to match manuscripts with qualified reviewers beyond the traditional networks. I think this will solve for the geographic and demographic diversity that we are looking for in reviewer pools. And capacity building for ESL reviewers, so that's English as a second language. Those reviewers for whom English is a second language, AI tools like PaperPal again can help reviewers craft clearer, constructive feedback with features such as grammar enhancement, paraphrasing, submission ready checks. So I think these are tools that are really out there. And then, of course, there are, other experimental uses, like publishers are piloting novel applications of AI in peer review, such as, AI-generated structured review summaries and AI-driven reviewer triage, where algorithms predict, the likelihood of test rejection to help reviewers focus on substantive evaluations. So these were some practical applications, I think, that are being explored and slowly being used in the publishing workflows. Could you move to the next slide, please? So, yeah, like I mentioned, and I think I was also reading in chat before my segment began, the issues also that are there with AI. So yes, there is bias. It may reinforce systemic inequities. There's the integrity issue with the possibility of AI written reviews. There's the black box syndrome. And then there's the over-reliance, that is, reviewers defer too heavily to AI tools, reducing critical human judgment. Could you please move to the next slide? So again here, I had data from a PaperPal survey that was conducted in 2025, where we had asked authors to tell us, their concerns about the use of AI in academic context. And these, I think the primary concern, and about 82.74% of those who answered, they said that the risk of plagiarism or unethical use by students was the most primary concern, followed by over-reliance or dependency on tools, and again, the loss of scholarly voice or originality. So I think this was not surprising because I think these are things that we've, also spoken about as issues. Could we move to the next slide, please? Again, just for sharing, I thought this would be interesting for everyone, just a new, different opinion. So again, from the same survey, when we ask people, does your university or institution currently have a policy on using AI in academic writing? And it was so mixed, you know, like 13% said that they actively encouraged AI use. 25% said they allow AI, but only for specific uses, only such as editing or brainstorming. 15% discouraged it. 15% said there's no official guidance. Then if you look at the next one, it says, what kind of evidence were you expected to provide? And here again, it was very, very differing. Like 27%, 27% basically said that 27% basically said that a record of prompts that they used was what was expected of them to provide. Then the next set said that a detailed report or log of which AI tools were used along with the AI generated outputs. Some wanted personal notes explaining how this content was edited. And 43% said that a declaration of AI use in the final output was what was required. So it was again very mixed. In terms of disclosing AI use, again here 26% said it was received more negatively. So, you know, if you disclosed it, do you feel it affected how your paper was received? That was the question. And 26% said that they felt that it was received negatively. And 37% were not sure. And 16% said it was received more positively, which was a positive sign, I think. What would help you or your students feel more confident in disclosing AI use? 77% here felt that clear, consistent guidelines from institutions or publishers was what was required. So I think these were some interesting insights that I thought would be very relevant for this discussion. Could you move to the next slide, please? So I think coming back to, you know, so while this survey, and I can see a question in chat about the geographies, this was, I think, a global survey. There was no particular geography. It was not India focused. But if we are talking about the India landscape, the openness to technology is so prevalent. You know, there are researchers in India that are increasingly receptive to digital and AI-enabled practices. There are the AI research ecosystem is growing. India is emerging as that global hub for AI research for startups, and there's like real potential to co-create these localized peer review tools. Language diversity is, of course, there. India publishes research in English as well as multiple regional languages. And AI-assisted tools could probably bridge these linguistic gaps, enabling broader reviewer participation and more inclusive peer review. When I specifically talk about the EASE Peer Review Toolkit, it is not currently translated, but there is just so much potential, especially for those who are publishing in regional Indian journals. I think this would be a great value add. We are currently, I think, the EASE India chapters in the process of translating the author toolkit, where we plan to see how that is being received, post which, you know, if that is being received well, then the idea is to translate the peer review toolkit as well. So I think that brings me to the end. Could you move to the final slide? So yeah, it's just thank you very much. And if you have any questions for me, even at the end of this presentation, I'd be happy to take them.
Yeah, thank you very much, Roohi. It is very interesting to see these results because they are quite aligned with some of the thinkings of the Croatian researchers as well, especially those editors and researchers who are working at the faculties as professors or assistant professors or assistants. We see an increased use of AI tools by the students, and I would say that we need to educate them more how these tools could be used, but in an ethical manner. So, but I agree, we see a lot of potential. Duncan has mentioned in the chat potential to use the AI tools for some purposes which could help us to reduce the time spent for the peer review process. So thank you. And I would like to to ask you all to comment, put your comments in the chat, and I would like Bogdana to move to the next slide and perhaps put the next question for you in the chat. And our next speaker is Professor Mirko Spiroski, who is a chair of our EASE Macedonian chapter, and he will tell us a bit more about the peer review practices in Macedonian journals, so to see and hear more about this perspective. Please, Mirko, continue.
Good afternoon to all of you. I will tell you in short some of our experiences in the last several years and my opinion about some of the problems we faced with. Next slide, please. I will give you some information about several peer review weeks in Macedonia and about the results which are analyzed from the websites of the 127 Macedonian electronic scientific journals. And we analyze plagiarism check, peer review mode, peer review model, number of reviewers, and AI policy. I have to say that the results are only for the working websites and several of them are not working, and many or significant number of Macedonian scientific journals are not even now presented on internet with their websites. Next slide, please. First peer review week was in 2016 and was organized in Macedonian Academy of Science and Arts by Macedonian Association of Medical Editors, which was created shortly before that. And this is an association composed of the medical editors only and not with other editors from other fields. Next slide, please. Second peer review week in 2019 was organized also by Macedonian Association for Medical Editors with the title Peer Review Basic Principle of Scientific Communication. And again, 3 years later, we gathered biomedical editors from Macedonia to discuss the peer review process. Next slide, please. Third peer review work of Macedonia was during the COVID pandemic, and it was very difficult to organize, but in spite of that, we decided that it is time to gather and to discuss the peer review in scientific journals. It was organized by the Faculty of Philosophy from St. Cyril and Methodius University in Skopje and from the Scientific Foundation Spiroski in Skopje. It was very difficult, but we somehow felt that it is necessary to increase the trust in the peer review decision-making process is a crucial part. Next slide, please. Fourth Macedonian peer review week, we are planning for the next 10 days, and it is organized by EASE Macedonian Chapter and Macedonian Association for Scientific Communication, which was several months ago created, and we hope that the meeting will be well organized and will be accepted from the editors, not only from the biomedical editors, but from other editors in our country. Next slide, please. We analyzed websites and not as an interview, but as a written document and information published on the certain websites. And we can see that plagiarism check was used in 12% by authenticate, in 5% with Turnitin, and 1% in-plug scan, but 82% didn't declare that they are using any tool for plagiarism check in scientific journals. Next slide, please. We also analyzed the peer review mode in Macedonian electronic scientific journals, and as we can see, 51% use double-blind, 47 use double-blind peer review mode, only 2% single-blind, and it was not defined on the website in more than 50%, 51%. Next slide, please. Peer review models in Macedonian electronic scientific journals was also analyzed, and we can see that the majority of the journals are using open journal systems in 42%. Equal percentage of journals are using email and not defined, and 12% are using research management system, which is, I would say, very well organized and not enough accepted from the scientific journals in our country. Next slide, please. Number of reviewers was also analyzed, and we found that 23% declared 2 potential reviewers, 3 reviewers declared about 12%, more than 3 reviewers declared 1%, but the majority of the journals didn't define any number of the reviewers used in their education process. Next slide, please. We also analyzed AI policy in Macedonian electronic scientific journals, and we found that only 18 journals declared that they are using policy for AI, which is around 15%. No one used easy translated materials for AI, and not declared was in 75% of the websites of the scientific journals. Next slide, please. We knew that the only association in Macedonia for scientific editors is from the field of biomedical. And in our country, the journals from the biomedical field, especially from medicine, are the most organized and I would say with the biggest standards and the biggest quality. But we wanted to influence other parts of the Macedonian fields, and because of that, previous year we created EASE Macedonian Chapter with the aim to promote collaboration among EASE members and organize training activities for Macedonian editors and authors and some of the surrounding regions. We created a website, and we started in the previous 1-year period with several, I would say, good activities, but we need more attempts and more activities in the future time. Next slide, please. We also decided to create a Macedonian Association for Scientific Communication, similar to the Croatia, in June, 10th of June this year. And we hope that we will prepare ourselves till the end of this year to be present and include more scientific editors from all fields in our republic. Next slide, please. As a conclusion, I would say that we organized peer review weeks in Macedonia, 4 in number, but they are not enough and not enough influential. plagiarism check, peer review mode, peer review model, number of reviewers, and AI policy have very low inclusion in Macedonian electronic scientific papers. I have to say that it is only analysis from the websites available on internet. It is possible that more of the editors are using these tools and vice versa, and we have to check in the future in more, how to say, objective way to conclude how the journals are using all these tools. And finally, we created EASE Macedonian Chapter and Macedonian Association for Scientific Communication to increase the quality of peer review as one of the most important factors in Macedonian electronic scientific journals. Next slide, please. I would like to thank Katarina Spiruska, who create and update the data of Macedonian electronic scientific journals. And at the moment, we have the only database for scientific journals in our country. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Professor Spiroski, and I congratulate you on all these efforts. It is obvious and evident, as well as we have in Croatia, that the community engagement is, I would say, the most important things, and raising the awareness. As you have mentioned, perhaps more journals do have some policies in place, but they are not declaring it clearly at the website. So we need to work more with journal editors to try to raise the awareness about the importance of not only having policies, but also transparently communicating it. And there is a lot of talk in the chat about whether there are some instructions for the reviewers about the use of AI tools for the peer review. And as you can see, some large publishers have very clear instructions, but I would say academic journals are perhaps lagging behind. So I think all of these efforts from all of chapters present here, but even wider, will help us to raise the awareness about it. So thank you, Professor Spiroski, and I would like to ask Bogdana to move to the next presentation. We have with us the chair of EASE Turkey, Yasin Hasan Balcıoğlu, will share some reflections from Turkish chapters on the research integrity issues and the peer reviews. So we are looking forward to your presentation, Yasin, please.
Yeah, thank you, Iva, and thank you to participants and the contributors who make this meeting possible. And I would like to say good morning, good afternoon, and good night wherever you are from, because it looks like the meeting is not limited to the Europe. So this is one of the topic that makes me happy for this meeting and about the mission of the EASE. Today I will present an overview about the Turkish webinar on research integrity, which we held in May, 3 months ago. And I will present some reflections and highlights about the intersection of the AI peer reviewers role and research integrity. So I have also a cap, or I have a role as a researcher also. So I try to make some highlights. I try to summarize some highlights that we talked about this meeting. Next slide, please. So probably you are having problems about these M dashes, long dashes, right? So at the first glance, when you are looking to a reviewer report or an article, you can understand that probably this is written by or generated by a tool, but the editors and the peer reviewers role in detecting AI generated content is not that simple. So we are a broad mission, broad responsibility as editors and also peer reviewers to protect the research integrity and the reliability of the content that we publish or we allowed to publish. Next slide, please. And this is the meeting that I mentioned, and I really thankful to those committed to this meeting, our professors, senior and internationally renowned researchers that involved in this webinar, which held 2 hours. This is unfortunately Turkish, but I already recommended to Turkish colleagues to watch this webinar recording. And this is one of the earlier or one of the most productive meetings in the terms of research integrity across the country. Next, please. So the research integrity as a context it's difficult to describe it in a short way, but we can answer this question as the factors to ensure good practice and foster confidence and trust in research. And it also refers to honesty, transparency, accountability, reproducibility, and fairness. So research integrity has different legs like a spider, and it's like an umbrella, and it covers all of the topics, not only the ethics, but also the broad perspectives that listed here, but not limited to this. Next, please. And when we talk about research integrity, as gatekeepers, as editors, publishers, peer reviewers, and we are gatekeepers to sustain the research integrity, we need to deal with misconducts related to research integrity. And one of the common and quite popular for today's publishing academic ecosystem is the paper mills. These are this is a concept that produced by commercial enterprises. They produce fake or poor quality papers. They submit those papers under researcher's name, but in an unethical and illegal manner and ways. And their characteristics are mainly they contain fabrication as data, or they invent experiments, they manipulate image, they use ready templates for mass production to spread the sheets, spread the papers as a profit, economical profit, financial profit. And especially, this is important, their target is researchers under academic pressure. They are probably mainly juniors, but not limited to juniors, also senior researchers, and they sell them ready publications. And this is expectedly often also associated with plagiarism, manipulation of authorship, and fake peer review suggestion. And in conclusion, this practice undermines research integrity and contribute to the spread of unreliable content of the literature. Next, please. And other forms of misconduct of research integrity, this is not specific to Turkish context, but we can generalize to the global context. Identity and image manipulation, data manipulation, and citation manipulation. I think as editors, we are dealing with this too. There are huge citation networks which includes paper with unnecessary and over use of redundant citations to gain impact of authors. I call them citation cartels. And also authorship violations, plagiarisms, and fake peer reviews or peer review manipulation is another problem associated with AI also. And also malicious use of AI can be done in anywhere of these forms, but paper mills probably are one of the most common misuse of AI in compromising research integrity all over the world. Next, please. So there is no one responsible person to protect the research or maintain the the research integrity in this ecosystem. Researchers, reviewers, editors, publishers, and institutions, and also funders, and maybe ethical board members, all of the stakeholders in this ecosystem, in this environment, is responsible to maintain the research integrity. Next, please. So what is the role of peer review in sustaining research integrity? Peer review process is a gatekeeping and collaborative process, and we know that it ensures reliability despite some discussions about the gold standard. There was a question about what is a good peer review. There are some quality checklists, there are some rating scales. There is a hot debate on what is a good quality peer review report. But anyway, this is a gold standard. Even we don't like it, we need this. So we should acknowledge the peer review's role in protecting research integrity. And to provide some details about this, they provide service to detection and report of the integrity concern. They support transparency and reproducibility, and the peer reviewers should provide fair and constructive feedback. And also, in summary, with doing these, they strengthen the trust in research. Next, please. So we all talk about the misuse and malicious phase of the artificial intelligence, but how AI can help to sustain the research integrity in the conjunction of maybe peer reviewers' role. There was a question from Haptamu, and he raised an argument about over-automation, and also Roohi mentioned human judgment. Yeah, I need to emphasize this, the first paragraph of this list. Human touch and human responsibility should remain central to avoid over-automation. So editors and peer reviewers should be humans, and they probably will continue to being humans. So these should be, of course, the editor will be the final decision makers, but these humans should be the decision makers in this process. And multiple checkpoints are needed. So peer review system is a critical checkpoint system, and we need to protect this institution as a peer reviewer process, and we should accept the critical role of peer review in detecting the AI misuse, and also they can integrate AI in a good way, in a useful way to sustain the research integrity during their practices, peer review practices. So this is what I'm talking about. This is AI-supported tools. I will not mention the names. I'm not familiar with their technical background, but there are tools for detecting miscounts. They are also called as integrity tools, and they can be used manually, or they can be integrated to the journal submission system, and conclusion in subsequently they can embed it into editorial workflows of journals. And through these strategies, through these softwares, detecting overused reviewers, suspiciously fast reviewers can be detected. This can be possible. And also identifying template-like or repetitive language reports supporting reviewer training can be done through AI-supported tools, through tailored feedback and resources. Next, please. The main theme of this meeting is about the peer review toolkit of EASE, and one of the critical document resource of this toolkit is EASE recommendations on the use of AI in scholarly communication. And I have derived some highlights about the intersection of peer review and research integrity from these documents. And I can say that there are 4 golden rules about this intersection, which is the clear declaration of any AI use in peer review reports, and integrity checks, screening of reports with AI detection tools, maybe in the near future. And there should be no hidden use. If AI use conflicts with the journal policy, the reviewer should discuss openly with the editors, or they need to decline the task. And they need to know that they are the guardians of integrity, and they need to identify possible AI misuse in the papers. And if there exists a suspicion, they need to raise their concerns to the editorial staff. And the Turkish translation, I see Bahar here. She helped with this translation. Will be available soon in the website here. I will wrap up in 2 minutes. Next slide, please. And this is my final slide. I wanted to emphasize the role of COPE in this topic. COPE is mainly having documents about publication ethics, but in general, they call it publication integrity, and which is closely related to research integrity. I recommend you to look up to the guides of related to integrity in their websites. And there's a publication integrity week next month, in November, sorry, in the 3rd week, and there's a webinar. I think it's free. And I think these documents will be useful, as well as the EASE Peer Review Toolkit and integrity documents related to integrity. And yes, next slide, please. Yeah, thank you for listening and for your attention. I can have your questions maybe after the speech. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Yasin. You have a question in the Q&A for you.
Yeah.
So you can, if you prefer, answer it now. But I want to thank you for all very useful suggestions, and also for mentioning COPE, because we have, for example, more than 400 journals in open access in Croatia, but only 14 COPE members. So there is a need to be aware of all of the resources that COPE and workflows that COPE is offering to deal with the research integrity issues. And I find it relevant that, and also thank you that you have mentioned this. So
you're welcome.
Yeah. So we can move on with the next presentation from Irina, and then we can address the questions that we didn't answer live or in the chat, and perhaps wrap it up with your thoughts on this. Irina will, as not only as the chair of EASE Ukraine and our EASE Council member, but also as the chair of EASE Regional Chapter Committee, she will tell us a bit more about Ukrainian efforts to integrate peer review tools into the journal workflows, and also to translate the resources to Ukrainian language. So please, Irina.
Thank you very much, Iva. That's true. I'm going to tell you a little bit more from our perspective in Ukraine. Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us today. I'm a chair of EASE Ukraine, and I'm a chair of newly appointed chair of EASE Regional Chapters Committee, and I'm very excited to have this event together with my fellow chapters chairs. I would like to tell you more about and to discuss the profound transformation happening in Ukraine's academic publishing landscape. We are in a time of immense challenge, but also of strategic redefinition as we align our scientific community with the European Union. My focus is on how we are moving from simply setting new rules to actively building capacity. Using the EASE Toolkit, for this example, as Peer Review Toolkit, and we are going to use it as our foundational mechanism for changes. Next, please. To understand the role of these tools, you must first understand our national context. Comparing with my colleagues, for instance, Professor Spiroski mentioned that they have 120 electronic scientific journals. In Ukraine, we have up to 2,000 scientific journals, and 1,700 of such journals recognized as scholarly journals right now, according to the existing regulation of academic journals list. Historically, the purposes was often formal recognition for PhD students, for funding projects, for general research assessment. This system, however, created significant gaps in quality and transparency. For instance, all these journals recognized and announced aligned with COPE rules and standards, but some concerns arise according to the details of publications and to the quality of publications. Driven by our strategic goal of European integration, Ukraine has launched a deep regulatory reform of the intern system, and we are fundamentally shifting our focus from quantity to quality and integrity. Most of our journals are Ukrainian language journals with Ukrainian speaking teams, so that means challenges with English language sources and trainings as well. The next, please. First, I would like to draw your attention to the requirements for editorial board members and for peer reviewers as well. So the new regulation, and one of the critical pillars of this reform, is raising the standards for who can participate in the scholarly process. We're working on the national state standards for the profession of science editors as well. The new regulation will introduce 3 criteria for editorial board members. I'm very happy to share that one of the mandatory criteria will be being peer reviewer and have recognized records of peer reviewing for scholarly journals. We are moving away from symbolic appointments, and board members must be active researchers with very verifiable recent publications or proof of equivalent contributions, such as verified peer reviews, which is quite good in my opinion. The next one. As my own editorial experience taught me, rules on paper are not sufficient, and you cannot simply mandate quality and expect it to appear immediately or even in close future. We face with 2 significant barriers shown here. First, there is a systematic lack of formal curriculum programs, courses for PhD students, for early career researchers, even for professional editors, science editors at our universities and generally in academic ecosystem. It's absolutely needed to have some trainings on practical issues of scholarly communication, peer review especially. Second, we face profound difficulties with language issues. While excellent resources like EASE guidelines or other guidelines exist, and training programs as well, they have been almost exclusively in English. This creates a critical accessibility gap for editors, researchers, and those who need this knowledge, and creates a serious implementation gap. So we're going to create and to develop more accessible tools with support of EASE. The next one. This is precisely why our work at EASE Ukraine is so transformative and so exciting, why the Ukrainian translation of these tools is so immensely needed. We are not just translating these documents, we are trying to localize in the practical infrastructure for this national reform. As you can see on this slide, we have already begun this vital work translating key EASE resources, like, for instance, interactive checklist and parts of peer review toolkit. And while we're working, we have great discussions about particular terms and practical issues, how to use them. This focus on human qualification as ethics is also our primary response to the AI era. The challenge is not only AI, the challenge is an unqualified person using it, in my opinion. To provide clarity, we also immediately translated and dissemination is a recommendation on the use of AI in scholarly communication. And it was very interesting to observe results from investigations of other speakers. Right now, we're also very widely introduce the rules of for particular journals, how to use AI, but it should be also complemented by specific trainings as well. The next one. This localized tools is the essential building block for our main goal, organizing a professional, resilient network of editors and reviewers across Ukraine. This reform, powered by EASE tools, is built on 3 pillars that I believe are absolutely necessary. The first is qualification, and it means providing the tools to know how to review, how to select reviewers, how to assess review reports, and other absolutely necessary tools and resources. Certification, creating pathway to prove the skills, and we can use like available tools right now, like Pablon's records and ORCID records and other tools as well. We are looking forward for the new regulation with specific recognition. And this is the third pillar, building a culture that values this essential work, because we value on peer review very much. The next one. That's my final slide, and I would like to say that just it's not just the immediate reforms. We are going to construct a bridge by localizing the EASE tool and to empowering our scholarly community with the exact tools needed to build that bridge themselves. And the AI era is simply today's challenge. Tomorrow will undoubtedly bring new ones, but by arming our reviewers and editors with this knowledge and supporting them with this professional community, we are ensuring that Ukrainian peer reviewers are ready and resilient for any challenges we can face. This is how we are going to transform transparency, strengthen our practices, and to secure Ukraine's rightful place within the European research area. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Irina, and I congratulate you and your team to all the hard work that you are doing, especially taking into account the terrible circumstances in which you are doing this. So any efforts to not only improve the scholarly publishing landscape in your country, but also to network and cooperate with other chapters is a step in the right direction, I would say, and we can learn, as we saw from today's presentations, a lot from each other. So I would like to ask our speakers to all turn on your cameras so we can have some final remarks. And Bogdana, do we have any? I see a question about the number of scholarly journals. Irina, you can answer this live.
That's true. I was writing the answer, but I can send generally. So in 2018, it was performed a great reform for scholarly journals in Ukraine, and it was new rules introduced at the time. And since it happened, the list of academic journals in Ukraine was like a bit of up to 2,000 journals, and there is a significant difference between different scholarly areas. For instance, we have approximately 400 legal journals, which means sometimes not like transparent and fair combination of this scholarly ecosystem or landscape. So we are right now amid ongoing reform of the requirements for such journals, and we're going to update it very soon. The very important regulation on state funding of scholarly journals with real support, financial support for the best and high quality journals from Ukrainian institution, from not commercial publishers, was just recently adopted. We were involved deeply in this regulation preparing, so we are in a very exciting moment, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of things are going on. We need to be on top of everything, to track everything, and also try to come to this level at which we can implement all this. Thank you, Irina. I would like to ask Bogdana, are there any questions that are left unanswered in the Q&A and chat?
I think the question for Yasin wasn't answered. If you don't mind, I can read it.
I have already answered it, but if you would like to read it.
Okay, then you answered in the Q&A chat, right?
Yes, correct.
Then okay, then we can move on to the answers, I think. There were a few interesting answers. For example, AI tools should not be used in evaluating the scientific soundness of a scientific paper. What do you think on this issue?
Hey, I would ask Jadranka to comment on that.
So, sorry, Ivan, what?
To comment on that AI tools should not be used in the scientific evaluation of the research output. Yeah.
Yes, I need to tell you that I'm surprised with, I read carefully the discussion in the chat, and what it's obvious that editors have really huge obligation towards authors not to put their manuscript in the public AI tool or something which could compromise confidentiality and cause some infringement. But looking at the discussion, what it's obvious that journals which have policies on AI tools are addressing authors and reviewers. So authors needs to disclose the usage on AI tools, and for reviewers it is mostly recommended that they are not using at all LLM tools in during peer review. But I'm wondering what without editors. So even before all this discussion about AI tools, editors will heavily use AI for different purposes, checking the manuscript, looking for possible plagiarism or such kind of things. So it's and now we are aware that big publishers are developing their own internal AI systems. So are we actually approaching the situation where big publishers will have a close system using heavily AI at the same time forbidding authors and reviewers to use such tools. And yes, and I understand that when you are a big publisher and you have such a huge system, you have also this data confidentiality agreement, and but this is not a good reason for keeping editors completely outside these requirements for transparency. So I'm not sure if I'm clear enough, but I'm asking myself, should editors actually, by their own behavior and own way of acting during editorial process, being completely transparent about what they are doing with the manuscript, what tools they are using, and or we will actually approaching the future when we will have again these huge differences between big publishers and small journals who cannot afford to build such internal closed AI systems. So actually, what I want to say that I'm appealing on editors to show by their own example what transparency means, and so that there will be equal chances and equal kind of ethical requirements also for small journals, for diamond journals, and for journals from big publishing houses. So,
yeah, thanks.
Clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like to ask Yasin to comment on that. I have my opinion, but I want to hear yours.
About the AI used in peer review, right?
And the
No,
transparency
AI use in research, in editorial process, and in peer review.
Okay.
Yeah.
As a researcher, I'm a clinician and I work in a clinical journal. So when I have a paper as an editor, when I have a new submission, I just expect from the research that paper is clinically relevant and interesting to today's real world practice. So choosing the topic or choosing the interesting topic or the subject cannot be made by an AI possible. I can find it impossible because what is a clinician's touch or a physician's touch to a patient or a topic that needs to be new, can be a new treatment, a new diagnostic tool. So it can the researcher can have help, can find help from the AI, but the whole subject, whole the scope, whole the topic or design cannot be made by the AI. I don't know if the engineering or social sciences is it possible or not. Maybe Irina and other colleagues can answer that. But in clinical sciences, I cannot make it possible as a researcher. But in editorial process, the tools that I mentioned about the integrity checks and checklists, I can say that the AI tools, because we need lots of checkpoints. I know it's complicating the process, but we need to make multiple checklists because you previously mentioned that we have lots of volumes about scientific contents. We need to triage them. We need to eliminate some of them. So these checkpoints can make our job easier to understand what is quality, what is valid and reliable. So AI related tools can integrate in these workflows as an editor, but as a researcher, maybe only about visual production, visual input the data and output as a visualization can be possible, or language polishing or other minor stuff. But as a researcher, I don't think it is a reliable science when it comes to fully generated by AI. Yeah, this is what I
Yes, but
thought.
my main
Thank you.
question, if I may, Iva, shortly.
Yeah, we are
Yes.
reaching the end. I wanted to ask
Yeah.
some question.
Actually, my main question was if we are requiring from authors and reviewers to be completely transparent on the usage of AI tools, shouldn't we expect the same from the editors?
Yes, exactly. Because if you are using these tools, you need to transparently write down to your website as a journal policy. If you are talking about this, in personal, I don't have experience in that as a integrity tools, but in my opinion, you need to implement your journal policy.
Thanks. I wanted to ask Professor Spiroski and Professor Izarova. Duncan has posted a question to the journal editors among us, but I would like to hear from you in short sentence. What is the most difficult for you when you are making a decision about the acceptance or rejection of the paper, and what do you think that AI tools can help with that? Professor Spiroski, what is your opinion about it? You need to unmute yourself, please. Yeah, thanks.
What to say? It depends from the experience of the editor. Because if the experience is long, is it strong, is it how to say, with high quality, then artificial intelligence is not possible to change too much your opinion, generally speaking. But because each of us is not covering all fields in medicine and other fields in the science, then we have to ask and to rely on other opinions. That's my feeling. Because if I feel that some suggestions from the AI or from the reviewers are not correct, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
And Irina, what is your opinion about it and your experience? Thank you, Mirko.
Thank you very much. I'm really agree with Professor Spiroski. We witness in my experience a lot of very specific usage of AI tools, and the most clear evidences of absolutely risky using of these tools are manipulation with citation and sources. That's very it's quite common, I confess, and it's very easy to find. We have something like statement at the beginning of submission. If you use this tool, just confirm this and confess to the editor who handling your manuscript about that. But in the meantime, there is not so much authors prefer to confess at the very beginning of submission about that. Now, but I'm like more. I'm thinking it would be more transparent to disclose all the possible options for using these AI tools, and the only things is we still have no any possible solutions how to discover this when someone is using this in a very smart way, just for polishing the language or for correcting the grammar. It's almost impossible to detect, I confess.
Yeah, thank you, thank you, Irina. And Mary is putting in the chat the next events, and I would just want to ask Roohi to conclude. What are the next steps that you are planning for your Indian chapter, especially regarding these topics?
Right. So the next steps for the Indian chapter, I think, like I mentioned, the toolkit specifically, we are at the moment, there are no immediate plans for translating it. We are currently translating the author toolkit. But I think, given the need, given, it's, in my opinion, AI is not an if anymore, right? It's a how. How do you use it as a tool and not a substitute for decision making? So I think being able to put those guidelines in place and then have that translated for the Indian chapter, that should hopefully be on our agenda for this year.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all of today's speakers. You were excellent. We hear a lot of interesting information, ideas, input from your chapters, and a lot of food for thought. And I would like to ask you to also join these next events regarding peer review week event, and we will be in touch. You can reach us to our email contacts. You will receive all the slides and the recording, and you can ask us if you have some additional questions. Thanks, a big thanks to all participants, to Bogdana and Mary, who were running everything smoothly. So thank you all, and looking forward to the next event. Bye-bye.